Alright, so in this video, my bike's got, I think like 1.8 hours or something like that now, and a lot of people recommend to go ahead and change the engine oil and maybe the gear oil too, to get some of those shavings out from a brand new motor. So this video is going to show you basically how to go about changing your engine. The first thing you're going to want to do, obviously, is, well, what I like to do is clean my bike all up. Anytime I'm going to work on it, I like it to be clean. That way there's no dirt going to fall into anything, and it's just easier to work on it. But if you got your bike clean, if you've got the stop bash plate, you've got to take that off to drain the engine oil. One screw that holds it on. The next thing you got to do is remove your oil drain plug screen, and that's going to be on the back side of your motor. And there's two bolts in there, two 13mm. It's going to be the one on the furthest on the left side of the bike. Alright, after all the oil is finished draining out on its own, clean off the sealing surface of the oil drain plug screen. Make sure you've rinsed off your oil drain plug and screen very thoroughly and cleaned it. Make sure there's no debris or anything in there. Reinsert it. Alright, next is to remove the oil filter, and that's a T30. It's two bolts. Should be a green O-ring or an O-ring on here. Next thing you'll need to do after you take the cover off is pull out the oil filter. You can use a set of pliers, and you're going to need to pry out on them. Alright, so after we've cleaned all of our parts for our oil filter, the next thing we got to do is something kind of crazy, but it's no big deal. Lay the bike on its side so that we can put oil into the oil filter area. Alright, so what we're going to do now is fill the oil filter housing area about 1/3. The next thing you do is you fill your oil filter up with oil. I'm doing it in a container that I'm going to reuse my oil because there's no sense in wasting this. Okay, so fine folks at KTM Parts gave me the wrong damn oil filter. This oil filter is the stock one, and you see that it's sitting in there like it's supposed to. The one that they gave me does not sit all the way down on that little metal piece that the rubber sealing part of the oil filter sits on, so had to reuse the one that was in there. It's no big deal because I'm just going to run this through a couple more hours and then pull it again. By that time I'll have the right oil filter. So, but process is still the same. Fill your housing about 1/3 full of oil and fill the oil filter. I'm guessing that is to obviously lubricate all of the oil filter, the paper filament, and then of course, you know, add any existing and put in there. Of course, when you push it down in there, oil is going to come out all over the place. So you're going to lose some no matter what. Next, you're going to reinstall your oil filter cover. Get you some of that fresh oil and run it around that O-ring. This is of course after you clean this thing really good, and the seating surface on here. Install the screws. Now we're going to stand the bike up. Next we're going to add some engine oil, the motor itself. Drop the cap right there. There's our tube little funnel. You're not going to pour in all of it. It says by now, by the time you've added in your filter and the oil in there, and then you add in here, you should have approximately 0.35 liters, which converts to obviously 350 milliliters. So I've added in just shy of 350 milliliters. You're going to put the cap back on it. So it's nice and snug. Next thing you're going to do is it says to start it up. Let it run for about 30 seconds. Now, you're basically, after you've ran it for 30 seconds or so, make sure you've got no leaks or anything going on. Some people say don't really go by the sight window and just go by what you're measuring. I made a boneheaded mistake and did not measure how much I was putting into the oil filter and into here prior to when it called for 0.35 liters. So I kind of guesstimated when I added it the first time. That's why I didn't add it right at 0.35 or 350 milliliters. I did a little bit shy because I accounted for however much I thought that I might have poured out into here, and then however much may have spilled out. So you know, a lot of people are really anal about measuring all that stuff, and so it's best to you know, make sure you got it right. So what I've done is put in here a little bit less than, let's see, not milliliters, a little bit less than 250 milliliters. The main thing I've got the bike kind of sitting up high or upright, so I'm going to kind of watch to make sure I at least fill it up into here. So. Snug it back up, and you're done. Go for a ride.